In 1979, James Carter made a decision that would change everything. By adopting 9 black cute baby girls, and now 46 years later, this is their story. Before we get into this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. And let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from. Now let's begin. That year, at the age of 34, James's world had become a quiet echo of loss. His wife, Elizabeth, had passed away 2 years earlier, and the home they had once imagined would be filled with laughter and children was now a cold, silent shell. Evenings stretched long as he sat at the kitchen table, the ticking of the clock almost unbearable, each second a reminder of time slipping away. The town whispered advice: remarry, move on, start fresh. But James wasn't looking for a fresh start. He was holding on to something much more precious, a promise Elizabeth had made him keep. Elizabeth, weak and fragile in her final days, had whispered to him, "Don't let love die with me. Give it somewhere to go." James took these words with him, and they led him to St. Mary's Orphanage one rainy evening. His truck had broken down, but fate had a different plan for him. When he walked inside, hoping for a phone to call for help, the soft cries of babies reached his ears. Drawn to the sound, he found himself walking down a narrow corridor, where the cries grew louder, each one pulling at his heart. In a small, dimly lit room, he saw them, 9 tiny dark-skinned girls, all with wide, soulful brown eyes, reaching out with arms so fragile it seemed as though they might disappear if not held. They weren't crying together. It was a symphony of despair, each sound a call for someone, anyone, to pick them up. Little did James know this would be the moment his life changed forever. A young nurse caught James's gaze, and with a quiet voice she said, "They came together, left on the steps of the church in the dead of night. No note. No names. Just 9 babies wrapped in the same blanket." James froze. 9. How could anyone walk away from 9 innocent lives like this? His heart twisted. The nurse's voice lowered even more. "No one wants them. Some come in hoping to adopt 1, maybe 2, but never all. They'll be split up eventually." The word separated hit James like a blow. He thought of Elizabeth's final wish, the promise to give love a place to grow. He thought of how she always said family wasn't just about blood but about choice. Finally he found his voice, trembling as he spoke. "What if someone took all of them?" The nurse gave him a knowing, almost pitying look. "All 9? Sir, no one can raise 9 babies. Not alone. Not without money. People will think you're crazy." But James wasn't listening anymore. He stepped closer to the cribs, and one of the tiny babies, her tiny fists clenched, locked eyes with him. Her gaze was intense, as if she recognized him already. Another baby reached up, her tiny hand tugging at his sleeve. And one more, barely a few weeks old, smiled, showing her little gums. In that moment, something inside James cracked open. The weight of responsibility settled into him, heavy but undeniable. "I'll take them," he whispered. The road ahead was far from easy. The paperwork was a battleground. Social workers called it reckless. His relatives labeled him a fool. Neighbors, hiding behind curtains, muttered, "What's a white man doing with 9 black babies?" Others voiced darker thoughts. People warned him about the money, the ridicule, the strain it would put on his life. But none of it mattered. James didn't flinch. He sold his truck. He sold his tools. Even Elizabeth's jewelry. He had made his choice, and there was no turning back. James worked tirelessly, begging for extra shifts at the factory, fixing roofs on weekends, taking night shifts at a diner, anything to make ends meet. Every penny went toward the essentials: formula, diapers, cribs he built from scratch. His house became a whirlwind of noise and motion. Sleepless nights, bottles simmering on the stove, laundry lines sagging under the weight of 9 sets of baby clothes. He stumbled through learning how to braid hair with unskilled fingers. He memorized which lullabies soothed which child. And in the stillness of the night, he counted their breaths, lying awake with the weight of worry. As the days passed, the whispers around him grew louder. At the park, parents pulled their children close when he walked by. Strangers gave him judgmental stares in the grocery store. Once, a man spat at James's feet, sneering, "You'll regret this." But regret never came. Instead, there were the moments, the moments that made it all worth it. The first time all 9 of them laughed together, a sound so pure and infectious that it seemed to shake the very walls. Watching them crawl down the hallway in a perfect line like a living train. The quiet peace of 9 tiny bodies nestled against him during a power outage, after a fierce storm. They were his. And he was theirs. James knew that the world would never stop questioning, never stop doubting him. But as he looked at those 9 little girls who filled his once empty house, once Ella was certain. He had given love a place to grow. The years that followed tested James in ways he never could have imagined. Raising one child was difficult, but raising 9 alone was an all-out battle. His hands were always rough and calloused from the extra shifts. His body ached from the constant lifting, carrying, and chasing. But through it all he never looked back. But through it all James's heart only grew stronger. Each of his daughters found her own rhythm, her own spark. Emily's laugh echoed loudest in the house, filling every room with joy. Ella, ever cautious, clung to his shirt whenever strangers approached. Sophia and Lily were the mischievous duo, forever sneaking cookies from the counter. Zoe, with her gentle nature, was always the one to soothe her sisters, placing a hand on their shoulders when tempers flared. Olivia, quiet but fierce, was the first to walk. And then there were Isabella, Ava, and little Chloe, inseparable, their games turning the house into a constant symphony of noise. To the outside world they were known as the Carter 9. Some spoke the name with awe, others with suspicion. But to James they were simply his daughters. The weight of judgment never let up. At school drop-offs mothers whispered, "What's his angle? Why would a white man adopt 9 black girls?" Some accused him of seeking attention. Others questioned his motives, his sanity. But James never responded. He simply kept showing up, bagged lunches in hand, hair neatly braided, shoes he'd saved for weeks to buy. Money was always tight. There were times he skipped meals to stretch the groceries. He patched the same shirts until the fabric frayed. At night, when the house was finally still, he'd sit at the kitchen table, bills piled high like enemies, his head in his hands. Yet, no matter the struggle, he never let his daughters see the despair. When they looked at him they saw strength, and that, in turn, gave him the strength to carry on. There were moments of Ella, those fleeting, sacred times that bound him to them in ways deeper than blood. Birthdays with homemade cakes that collapsed in the middle of the party. Christmas mornings when 9 eager hands tore through gifts wrapped in nothing but old newspaper. Nights spent beneath the stars, all of them crammed onto a single blanket in the backyard, listening as James told them stories about Elizabeth, the mother they never met, but who lived on in every quiet sacrifice he made. Slowly, against all odds, the girls didn't just grow taller, they grew stronger, rooted in something unshakable. They excelled in school, held each other up when the world tried to pull them apart, and always came home to James. But time is relentless. By the late 1990s, James's hair had grayed and his back had started to bend with age. The girls, now young women, began to leave. College, careers, marriages. One by one, the house that once hummed with the noise of childhood grew still again. On the night the last daughter moved out, James sat alone on the couch, staring at a photo of all 9 of them as toddlers, lined up like pearls on a string. He whispered softly into the quiet room, "I kept my promise, Elizabeth." Years passed, then decades. The girls became women, teachers, nurses, artists, mothers, and they built lives of their own. But they never wandered far. Every holiday they returned, filling James's humble home with their laughter and chatter until the very walls seemed to pulse with it. And each time James sat back, his eyes wet with gratitude, marveling at the miracle he had been foolish enough and brave enough to choose. Now, 46 years later in 2025, James sat in a grand armchair, his face marked with the deep lines of time, his body frail but his eyes still sharp. Around him, 9 women, no longer the little girls who once filled his arms, stood, radiant and confident in matching cream-colored dresses, their love still surrounding him. Their arms rested gently on his shoulders, their faces pressed close, smiles unfolding like the first flowers of spring. The camera flashed, capturing the perfect moment. The world was watching. A headline flashed across the news. In 1979 he adopted 9 black girls. See them now. But for James, it was never about the headlines. It was about this, the circle finally complete. The 9 babies, once unwanted, had grown into strong, admired women. And he, the man everyone had doubted, had lived long enough to see it. Ella, one of the daughters, leaned in, her voice a soft whisper. "Dad, you did it. You kept us together." James's lips quivered into a smile, but he could barely speak. "No," he whispered, his voice breaking yet steady. "We did it. Love did it." The room fell into stillness as all 9 daughters leaned in, surrounding the frail man who had chosen them when no one else would. And for the first time in 46 years, James allowed himself to cry, his tears flowing freely without shame. Because not only had the promise been kept, it had bloomed beyond what anyone could have imagined. If this story touched you, give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more emotional, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We love hearing from you.